I've been farming for the last 40 odd years, but we're always learning. I'd like to retire shortly, and in retiring, I've left this farm in good health. I farm on the Tully River, I fish on the Tully River, and as an avid fisherman, I'd like to catch a good sized barra.
We've been running the project from Tully up to the lower Barron, so north of Cairns. The focus is to work with farmers to help them understand the water quality implications of the chemicals that they use, and the overall goal is that we are looking after those chemicals, showing good stewardship. We run rainfall simulation activities with farmers on their own farms to look at not just what chemicals are moving, but we look at strategies that they can use themselves. We also run demonstrations on farm where we work with growers to understand what do they want to look at.
Yeah, through this trial we thought we could reduce our usage of PS2 chemicals. We think this is important from the perspective of the industry to try and have good practices that the public will accept, and to keep our social licence to farm, and of course to protect the Great Barrier Reef. So we thought this was an opportunity to try and run some trials to reduce our use of those chemicals further.
We've narrowed it down over the 3 years to 2 key messages. Number one is, if you put less on, there's less to come off, and you might relate that to your chemical choice. So we have some more modern chemicals now that are very effective at really low rates. Or you could take that same message and think about it across your whole farm, where I might use this chemical on these blocks where I've got pretty serious weed problems, but over on these blocks here, they're pretty clean, I'm happy with that. I might use something with a lower rate, or I might even just go to using only a knockdown over here.
So the problem we had was that we've got a high calipo problem at the ends of the rows, but just not on the outside. It extends into the paddock about 20 metres, and therefore we can't control that. So what we did with the trial was to look at using a chemical that would control that calipo, but only for the first 20 metres, and then further in the paddock you just use knockdowns. So at each end there was a 20 metre strip along the edge of the ends of the rows that was treated. So the outcome of those trials was that it was successful, and we've got good control of the vine on the ends of the rows, and our chemical usage has dropped substantially from that.
The second message is that timing really does make a difference, and we relate that to our rainfall simulation, where we put the chemical on, some of it on 3 weeks before we apply the rainfall, and the exact same chemicals at the same rates 3 days before we apply the rainfall. And every time on every chemical, wherever we are, we see a significant difference in the amount that comes off.
In association with SRA, we conducted last year a rainfall assimilation test. In that data, it showed that spraying chemicals in the beginning of the year doesn't pose a major risk, but we do have a greater choice of chemicals. Later in the year, things change. Later in the year, the wet season is imminent, and with that rainfall, we only have a minor choice of chemicals. These chemicals that I use on the farm are a low-risk chemicals, and we put them out at a lower rate.
Growers, advisors can use that message to think about, have a bit more freedom of what chemical I might use earlier on in the season. But once we get towards that wet season, towards December is when we traditionally see rainfall that does run off and leave the paddock, then we might be a little bit more careful. So we might use some of those lower rate chemicals, or perhaps we look at a knockdown strategy, or even fallowing those blocks that we cut late.